All right, everybody, welcome to Fantasy Football Today Express. Let's get into the waiver wire for Week 11. Jamey, you said on the show yesterday that it's a great week for quarterbacks on the waiver wire, huh?
It's not bad. Depending on how shallow your leagues are, you got Joe Flacco potentially available. You have Aaron Rodgers. I know that's not the most exciting thing after what we saw Sunday night, but they're playing each other. So you get the Steelers getting the Bengals, and Joe Flacco has just been great. However, before we were started recording this, we got the news that the practice window is open for Joe Burrow. So that might be something that puts a little wrench in any of your Joe Flacco plans.
Yeah.
I do not expect to see Burrow in Week 11. However, go pick him up. So here's the guys that I think have an opportunity to play well this week. You got Tua Tagovailoa taking on what I would consider to be a defense made of air and the Washington Commanders in Madrid. You got Jacoby Brissett taking on the 49ers. I have Burrow third. You obviously need somebody if you obviously need to find somebody else if you have to replace quarterback for this week, but I would like to stash him. Brock Purdy could return in Week 11. I have him next. Marcus Mariota gets the Dolphins. So for what that's worth, he's playing well when he gets an opportunity to start. Geno Smith gets the Cowboys. We'll see if he's able to play. J.J. McCarthy, if you want to trust him, gets the Bears. Michael Penix gets the Panthers. Davis Mills looks like he might be starting again. C.J. Stroud still in the concussion protocol. He gets the Titans. And then just for two QB league options, you have Russell Wilson potentially starting for the Giants or Jameis Winston, either one. Obviously, we'd prefer Jameis. And then Shadur Sanders could be taking over for the Browns at some point. So stash him if you have an open roster spot.
Joe Burrow is 50% rostered. So it's pretty incredible that he's already practicing. That's wild.
Yeah, my guess is they're not going to rush him back. So they have a 21-day window. Maybe they see if they go 3-0 in that stretch, and then they decide, okay, he's good. If they go 0-3, maybe they say, you know what, we're just going to shut you down and make sure you're ready for next season. Who knows? But obviously, the fact that he's getting close to return is exciting for fantasy managers, or it should be.
All right, so those are the quarterbacks you could pick up. Are there any good running backs to add?
No.
I do.
So here's the list that I'm working off of right now. This may change, but Amari Demercado would be one. We don't know when Trey Benson's going to return. Gets the 49ers this week. And Bam Knight left the game against the Seahawks with an injury, so he would be number one. Sean Tucker may be taking over the Bucs backfield until Bucky Irving returns. He would be number two. Devin Singletary, I have at number three. I know Tyrone Tracy actually played better than Singletary, but who knows with the coaching change, with the quarterback situation being what it is, we may see Singletary get some more opportunities. I would put him third. Blake Corum comes in at fourth just because of the rotation that we see with the Rams. Clearly, you're not going to trust Blake Corum against the Seahawks in Week 11, but somebody we're stashing. It's basically the next three guys are all stash guys. Corum, Tyler Algier, Brian Robinson. Algier is going to probably be touchdown dependent, but as we've said time and time again throughout the course of the season, when they have a chance to win is typically when he's at his best, and they're playing the Panthers this week at home. So opportunity for maybe him to get some touchdown runs, touchdown opportunities. Brian Robinson Jr. scored in back-to-back games. And then the last guy I have on this list, just in case you're desperate, Dearness Johnson. If Stevenson's out and Jennings is out, we know that they're not fully giving all the work to Trevion Henderson. So maybe in a desperate situation, Dearness Johnson could be a flex for you.
So, yeah, I actually think Sean Tucker is not that bad as a typical, running back waiver wire week. Actually, I know he's not that bad, but I actually meant Amari Demercado. It's not that bad. It's could do worse, assuming he's the guy and Bam Knight's out and Benson's out. Okay, wide receivers. We're going to take a break here, and we'll talk about wide receivers when we come back on Fantasy Football Today Express. All right, there's always some good wide receivers out there. Got Jerry Jeudy, who's rostered in fewer than 60% of leagues. I don't know if he's near the top of your list. Who do you like this week?
Well, he is, because it's not another good list of players here. We're stuck a little bit right now. It's not, it's always funny, like when we say it's not a good week on the waiver wire, I always feel like that's a good thing because we're not dealing with a ton of injuries and your guys should be able to help you. But we know that some people need help. I put Parker Washington back at the top. Another game, 7+ targets. Another game with 7 targets. 3 in a row now with 7+ targets. My guess is they're going to struggle to run the ball this week against the Chargers, and we're going to have to see, and chasing points. We're going to see Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball again, and so maybe BTJ returns. No Travis Hunter. Who knows when Hunter is going to come back? I know Jacoby Myers was going to take a step forward. At least that's the hope with another week of practice. But I still think Washington's worth a look. I have Darius Slayton second, just with again, who knows what the quarterback situation being what it is, but he's played well now in back-to-back weeks. They're probably going to be throwing a lot. I think he's worth a look, clearly. I put Jaden Reed third. Maybe we get a report Monday night to see if he's close to a return. but you could put Judy next if you want to have Judy fourth. Jaden Higgins after that. He's had now 2 of his last 4 games with positive production. Malik Washington, he scored in 2 of his last 3 games, taking on the Commanders this week. And then just for Dave, Jalen Naylor at the bottom of the list, just to see if maybe there's something brewing there between a relationship between JJ McCarthy and Naylor.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, Brenton Strange is having his 21-day window open this week. So that if he comes back, that would be another strike against Parker Washington.
Maybe.
You could make the argument that the guy who, well, no, I think Slayton has long-term rest of season potential. Absolutely. And I think Judy probably doesn't, but he might.
He might be better with Sanders. You know, I don't want to chase the production from one big play against the Jets. But if they switch to a quarterback that may challenge down the field a little bit more, that could help him.
Like one thing for Judy that, is a stat that could positively regress for him is he leads the NFL in drops per game, which obviously is not a good thing, but it just means that if he actually, there was a chunk play that he dropped in this game against the Jets. If he stops dropping the ball, he might be having a somewhat decent year. He's averaging a drop per game. He and Brian Thomas Jr., I believe, are the worst in that department. So he's hurt himself, but he can still get open. That's for sure. All right. Tight ends.
So the best one to get would be Dalton Schultz, just because he's playing this week. If you're looking long-term, Juwan Johnson would be the one to stash just because they're on a bye this week. But Schultz obviously has played very well. And I don't think you should fear Davis Mills being the starter. So Dalton Schultz would be 1. Juwan Johnson would be 2. I put Colston Loveland 3rd, David Njoku 4th, Brenton Strange after that. And then if you're just looking for a 1-week matchup situation, Tyler Higbee gets the Seahawks. We know they've struggled against tight ends. So Higbee may have an opportunity to help fantasy managers as well.
Whoa, Jamey. This is coming in. Joe Burrow told Jay Glazer he expects to be back in week 13.
Okay.
By week 13.
Okay.
That's Thursday, Thanksgiving night against the Ravens.
Let's go.
That's a tweet from Ari Myrov. That's wow. I didn't think he was coming back this year. The optimistic side would be 3 months. That's amazing. All right, DSTs.
DSTs, I have the Chiefs just because the Broncos offense has been struggling. Falcons because the Panthers passing game is terrible, and if they can stop the run, they'll be decent. And then these 2 are going to be surprises because we usually pick on them. But the Cowboys, because they're facing maybe Kenny Pickett, but Geno Smith, we know, has had some turnover concerns. They just lost another offensive lineman for the Raiders. And maybe the addition of Quinnen Williams helps that defensive front get some sacks on Geno Smith. And then the Dolphins just because the Commanders' offense is a joke.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Was that?
No kickers?
Oh, yeah. Kick away.
Tyler Loop, Harrison Butker, Andres Borregales, and Zane Gonzalez.
Love it. That is going to do it for Fantasy Football Today Express. More waiver wire names for you tomorrow on the full-length episode of FFT. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you later.